We're gonna go inside and get some food.
We're getting food?
We're gonna get breakfast burritos, which are really good. Some kombuchas, maybe some coconut water, and then do the cycle. It's like a circuit. Starts here, goes through, comes back.
All right.
I streamline my movement. No plastic.
Or no plastic, okay.
Yeah. No, it's not even the end of February. And
Oh my
people are like,
gosh,
let's
feels
go.
so good.
Yep.
Nice.
This is fuel for the creatures, right? And so the moisture has been taken off of most of this. And so it's just the leftover pulp. And you see this is what a carrot turns into, right?
Yeah.
And then I mix this with the carbon material, which is usually, and then this becomes the nitrogen and the bacteria food for the worms in. So we also do worm composting, and the worms.
Yeah,
love
we
this
get
stuff.
down.
That's so cool. I love that.
Cool, thanks so much.
Yeah, of course.
Right. From a biological perspective, it's not 50-50. Does that make sense? Like we have this yin yang or the black white or the, it's one versus other. But in nature, it really is like 95% good guys. And then you got about 5% dicks. But everybody else is a good guy. We're just not able to communicate with each other. See what I mean? So this is where that communication, that networking, that reality check, that this guy who never wants to go in a garden in his entire life is still part of the good guy team. He's just using different tools because he's growing a different garden, And then how do we win? It's 95-5. We win. But what do I hear from most people? I'm doing it all by myself. You can't do it by yourself. I know, that's why I'm struggling. No, you can't do it by yourself.
Yeah.
There's 95% good guys.
Yeah.
It may feel like 50-50 because 45% or 45 of those good guys don't know that they're part of the good guy team. No, how about this? Hey, I heard you were a doctor from LA. That's pretty awesome. It means you're up on all the coolest science. Thanks for not using any pesticides around the home.
No, don't say that.
It's walking around on eggshells to just try to have a home and not have everybody around you tear it down. This is the why behind the what. So what did I pick up? Just vegetable pulp, I picked up shredded carrots and celery and all the stuff they use in their juice bar that, but all supposed to be the healthiest possible because that's what the people are eating, Why is for me to accumulate that volume of that type of material. There's just 4 of us in our house, you know what I mean? Like it would take a long time, and that process of collection would actually start to rot. So rotting is different than decomposing. Rotting is that putrefaction. It's nasty. That's anaerobic. Decomposing is aerobic bacteria and fungi and stuff breaking it down to be used again versus off limits because it's been nasty. Okay? So it would take me too long, and then that stuff would just be sitting in a bucket for too long, and then I couldn't get that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm literally understanding my needs and doing less at home because I'm going to where I can get the volume that quick to do exactly what I needed to do. Which is why I'm working with those farms, or trying to, you know what I mean?
So who grows this place?
It's all local. That's their big sales pitch. So this place is a farm 10 miles down the road and 20 miles down the road and another one, that's how they stock the shelves. Except for, of course, national chains for boxes. But when it comes to the local stuff, it's all local. But we're so used to the sales pitch that people forgot that most of the time it's real too. Like this place is local. To the point that if you had time, you could go down the street and visit the guy growing the celery. Most grocery stores throw away into the
60,
trash
right?
by volume 60 or 30 to 60% by volume, so it's different of their produce because it's alive or was alive. And so shelf life is a big importance, food stability, blah, blah, blah. People don't purchase what they don't understand, don't know how to use it, don't understand its value, all those things. So what we do is for these videos, right? These walking around the farm showing the lettuce that they can pick up right now, educating on 10 different ways that it can be used. So now you're not throwing away 30%, you're making 30% more. My name's Rion. This is what I do. I'm switching out the buckets for a fresh bucket.
Your coffee grounds?
These are beautiful coffee grounds from Perfetto Cafe. Beautiful little Italian, we'll call it a bistro. And we'll go in just a second and say thank you to them. And the coffee grounds is a high nitrogen source, organic nitrogen source that can be top dressed or just spread out over the top of the ground. It can be mixed in with other materials, but it's hotter, so you don't want to use a lot. Hey, buddy.
Hi.
I'm gonna shake your hand.
How are you?
Here we go, look. A barren, dead strip of dirt, yay, no life, burned. Look at those poor little plants. They're just literally trying to grow. Or asphalt, or some wildflowers, which feed bees and helps the planet and pulls in carbon from the atmosphere and puts it into the soil where it's stable and becomes food for life. And by the way, that also will help this whole ozone and climate change and all these other issues. And if you keep letting it do it, eventually we take down the fences too. And so all these barriers go away. Those are plastic rails. They don't want to use plastic water bottles, but they surround their entire property with plastic railing. We are going to pick up spent shiitake stock, which is, I believe they use an apple wood. So it's the byproduct or waste stream of orchards. They mulch that wood. That wood then is, because it's for mushrooms, they sterilize it, which is fine for this purpose. Usually sterilization would be bad, but they're growing mushrooms on it, and those mushrooms for market need to all be uniform. And so they sporulate the stock, billions of shiitakes. Those logs are then put into a giant pile and chipped up, and the biology continues to break it down. It's rich in, it's alive in fungus. And the mycelium is just thick, and the worms love to eat it. And so I cover the whole garden like floor with it and mix it into the soil structure and matrix. It's already alive. It's a food source. It's rich in humics and fulvics, which are humic acids and fulvic acid. And these guys literally have it by the ton because it's their trash that they think nobody wants, except for crazy old farmers that drive up and get it by the bucket full.
All right, with that, I'm turning this off.
Nice. We're gonna take the spent mushroom stock and we're going to be adding this as a mulch and ground cover, making sure that all the dirt has armor on it so it can be turned into soil. Today we've gone and collected materials from coffee shops, local grocery stores, juice bars, and mushroom farms. And we're gonna use that collected material the waste stream from those different facilities, and we're gonna use it to make the garden a healthier place. So right now, I'm finding spots of exposed dirt, covering the dirt up with a protective layer of carbon, which is the wood chips. And you can see up here where it was done earlier, the vegetation doesn't have a problem growing. It's about creating the situation where it can grow. And the process of just exposed dirt is called solarization, and that sterilizes that material. So by covering it, so now what I'm doing by covering it, you'll even see like gopher holes and mole hills. There's one here, okay? Those are air and water passages. By putting this in there, it's gonna slow down when we do finally get rain, and it'll turn it into a slow saturation versus a quick runoff. And when dirt, especially dirt like this, when it gets wet, it shingles, and everything will stay dry underneath, and all your water will wash away. And it'll take all the topsoil with it, which is all the nutrition. The benefits of doing this provides habitat on a microbial level, provides a food source, provides shelter and protection from the sun. It slows down rain, like a raindrop just coming out of the sky. It's like TNT exploding on the surface, right? Slows that down, allows it to be captured and then consumed by life. It'll turn this whole hillside actually into one functional area working together, just at different stages. And we live in California. Anytime you can increase your water capacity, the better. Are you ready?
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take the existing mushroom stock that was laid down last year, just flip it up. It's exactly the same stuff that we're laying down this year. And so within a year, you'll be able to determine, you know, with that mindset of this is what everything else is gonna look like next year. Does that make sense? So I'm going to just lift some up. All right, so here we have the dirt and soil. We have the organic layer on top of it. We even have some sprouts coming up, right? And you can see the different worms. Another egg case, cocoon. See, this one doesn't have, there's some worms. So this one here, you see the yellow? It's a slime mold versus...
Oh, go back to that yellow?
Yeah. So this yellow here is a slime mold, which is another type of fungus, but it's just a different kind. And it's saprophytic and it's breaking it down. And you can see the worms, they still like to eat it. But we're not seeing as many worms in this as in the other spot where we saw the white saprophytic fungus, which is because they prefer to eat that. And I can open it up a little bit and just leave it on this plane.
Fine.
And you see right here, there's another cocoon. So that little guy right there is filled with, 8 other little worms just waiting to hatch. And here, there's another one. See him? The cocoon. More worms. Ah, look at you guys. I just wanted a peek. So now I have to restore it as much as possible, right? This is still the path. Like all this stuff is tromped on, but there's squish in it, And so I'm putting back the moisture, or, closing this area off, and then I'm gonna put the protection of that dry material back on top to retain that moisture and let them keep getting back to work. So today we were collecting materials for the garden with the primary focus of tying in all the different beds to a fungal mat, as well as providing for some additional nitrogen sources from local community resources. This is the spent shiitake stock from the mushroom farm, which is a processed through the fungus after being sterilized apple wood. This here is spent brewery grain. See the pieces of barley that they use in that process. This is the organic vegetable waste from a juice bar, like some celery, looks like maybe cucumber, carrot, some lettuce, right? This material, which has had most of its fluids pulled off of it, and it's just the fiber and the good stuff. This material here is going to get mixed with the carbon sources and tied together, and this is worm food. And then the worms eat this and make it plant available in what are called castings, which is worm poop, which kind of looks like this when dried, but this is coffee grounds from a local coffee shop. And these coffee grounds are a nitrogen source, organic nitrogen source, that can just be top dressed or mixed into other materials and then allowed to mature and process and be consumed by the life. And when that happens, it balances the nitrogen and the carbon ratios, promoting a more balanced ecosystem. Nitrogen and quick burning and sugars, that's bacteria food. Longer carbon chains, lignins, and what make up these more complex structures is the fungal food. And having those two together provides for a more balanced ecosystem for all the creatures that you want in the garden. It's been a beautiful day, and it feels like summer, and it's still February. Which means Mother Nature just gave you a hint on what summer's gonna be like, and it's still February. So it's gonna be hot and dry. And I know that we're gonna have a little bit more rain in March and maybe April. And because of that, I needed to increase the sponge, the organic sponge of life, that when the rain comes down, which literally inoculates the ground and the plants with the life that's in the air, I need to absorb as much of that life as possible. That water is possible. The water is life. Yeah. So, but to do that, I not only wanted a sponge material, but I wanted a food source. It's always about a food source for a specific organism. And to do that today, we got spent mushroom wood chips, and we got spent barley from a brewery, and we got coffee grounds from coffee shops, and we got food scraps and waste from juice bars. But each one of those is a food for a specific type of organism. Bacteria, fungi, whatever it might be. And I'm trying to increase the amount of fungus, beneficial fungus, that I have in the garden. And to do that, I need to provide complex carbon chains for them, which is like woody material. And I can spread that over the entire garden, which is what we did, in a layer that's actually going to create interconnection for the entire area. It's one creature at this point. Does that make sense? And so the worms, which we see that are eating that fungus, they're processing that, and the bacteria and the protozoa, which is the amoebas and the other things, and they're filtering it through their bodies, and it comes out better than it went in, turning dirt into soil. So today was a very good day because I connected to my community, I collected resources, and I made my garden better, not just for this season, but potentially for however long I tend it. Because those resources are just continuing to feed and nurture the biology that's there.